Hi everyone, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and in the July 2019 Paradise Fibers Fiber of the Month Club box, they included an awesome dyeing project. In addition to our rainbow fiber, there is some 50% cashmere, 50% rose fiber that is bare, and a little package of Skittles, so you can taste the rainbow for this Wizard of Oz themed box. The box came with a really fun surprise for me. When I flipped over the newsletter, there was a shout out for me on the newsletter. I honestly didn't know this was coming, and you can go and check out my reaction from the live stream to see just how honored and surprised that I was. Honestly, I was planning on using the Country Classic dyes in a live stream from the June Paradise Fibers box, but if you're going to shout out my candy dyeing, then I decided to switch gears and switch the live stream to dye some roving with Skittles. I will be honest, dyeing this gorgeous soft rose cashmere fiber would not be the first roving I would experiment with candy, but we will take a couple grams from this roving and give it a shot. But I decided to expand this live stream a little bit. I ran to the store, grabbed more Skittles, and then also pulled out a 100-gram hank of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted weight roving. This is 100% Peruvian Highland wool, and will just be another felting-based comparison for this project. I also grabbed some Knit Picks Hawthorne fingering weight yarn. This is a superwash yarn that has high twist and will hold up to the Skittles, I think, really well. So I wanted to do something that I have never dyed before, something that I have dyed a lot before, but I haven't tried it with candy, so I'm a little nervous, and then something I'm very confident about that will get good results. Skittles do contain a little bit of wax in addition to the food coloring, so this is something to pay attention to and could end up leaving some residue on your fiber. But I found that with some agitation it does come out, but it is one reason why I'm a little bit nervous with roving. I'm setting up for the live stream now. I'm not sure if this is going to be more of a full tutorial or just a recap of the live stream. We'll see how things go and how many cameras I have set up. But either way, I am really excited to give this a shot. And this video isn't sponsored, but I would like to give a huge thank you to Paradise Fibers for sending me their Fiber of the Month Club subscription for free. I am an affiliate, and I do have an affiliate link in the video description in case you would like to learn more. The 2 ounces of fiber is about 58 grams, so I'm going to grab a nice little suction. Let's see, there we go. Let's see how much this weighs. Oh, about an 8-gram section to use with this one little package of Skittles that came in the box. You definitely could use all of the fiber in there if you wanted to. I am doing this as a small test, but also if you wanted sort of like a dreamy, cloudy, rainbowish feel, dye a little bit, get a little more intense colors on part, and then sort of mix it in as you're spinning the rest of this super soft, silky fiber. The candy is obviously food safe, but I am using my dedicated dye equipment today. I'm going to add 4 cups of water to this pan where we can get really shallow coverage and let this soak in. And oh, that's nice and spread out. I like it. I'm going to go ahead, I think, and add vinegar during the live stream itself. But I want this to get nice and wet right now. Once again, this roving right here is 50% rose fiber, which is a cellulose fiber, 50% cashmere, which is a protein fiber. Food coloring, which includes the coating on these Skittles, will dye protein-based fibers and not really dye cellulose fibers. So the overall color will be very muted, but I dye 50% wool, 50% viscose from bamboo all the time, and we can get some really beautiful colors. I just added the candy and you can see the colors spreading out. There are these really cool halos where the color has started to absorb and the interior of the candy is left behind. I wanted to behave very, very carefully during the live stream, and so as soon as all of the pigment was off of the Skittles outside, I removed the white interiors from the pot entirely to make washing easier on the other end. The Paradise Fibers Rose Cashmere blend is in cool water now, and it has already gone through a few rinses. This had way less candy on it. The one tiny packet and maybe a tiny bit more. Now with some cool water and adding the dish soap in, I'm going to suds that up, turn off the water, and add the fiber. I did remove by hand as much of the particulate as I could. Like I removed the color-free portions. I don't want the water to run over this, and I'm squeezing it some, and I'm trying hard not to rub. I'm not smelling a lot of smell or getting a lot of like weird feels out of this water. So I think at this stage, I might be ready to go and put this in the spin dryer and hang it up to dry. And then we'll come take a look at it and try spinning it. The live stream just ended and I didn't take the footage that I was hoping to take during the stream, but that is okay. In the second part of the stream, I used a lot of Skittles, both original and wild berry, on the yarn and the 100 grams of roving. And I'm taking this out of the still hot dye bath and plopping it directly into some hot yarn. Hot water, I mean. With the roving, I'm going to need to be a little more careful, but here with the yarn, it's superwash, and so we can work on trying to rinse everything out. And I'm starting off these first rinses in hot water. The water that's coming off does feel a little oily. Maybe that's dissolved wax that's in there. Definitely is possible. I'm adding some soap, and I'm still using hot water, at least for these first few washes. Then I will let it soak and cool off before I wash it properly. But if I can remove as much wax as possible while things are still hot, then let's go for it. Let's definitely go for it. So that is what I am doing right here. Yeah, and you can see that we've done some soap, but the water here is still definitely, to clear it. Ooh, it reeks of candy though. I mean, that's a lot of Skittles. They completely dissolve, and this color is beyond beautiful. This is why it is really fun to dye with candy, because you can just create these really unique kinds of colorways. But anyway, I'm going to keep soaking and rinsing this yarn, and I'm going to wash it a heck of a lot more off camera, but I did, with this, want to get sort of an initial, let's get everything out of this as we can right off the bat. We now have a warm basin of water, and I am very carefully trying to remove the roving from the still hot bath. This is off camera, but you can hear it. I'm letting the water drain. I'm not squeezing, it's just dripping, and I'm going to come transfer it. Oops. Trying not to make as much of a mess as I can. I'm going to put it in. I wanted to remove this as much as I possibly could. And it does look like there could be something that looks like waxy residue here. But I'm gently, again, I'm trying really hard not to agitate it. Trying not to rub, because the water is warm. but I want to get as much of the like stuff rinsed out as possible. It smells very much like candy. Okay. I'm gonna put it in and let it cool. The rainbow here is still very soft but very beautiful. I need to let this cool a little bit before I can carry it over and empty it. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. This is the downside to dyeing with candy. The plus side are the beautiful colors that we get. I'm gonna wash everything else a little bit more off camera, and then we'll come back and look at everything dry and hopefully fluffy and usable. With all of the fiber we dyed in this Skittles live stream, we got some high success, some pretty high but more medium success, and then some lower success. Can you guess which is which? The most successful yarn or fiber we got is the yarn. I was able to wash this a lot, so I was able to rinse out that melted wax that was on the surface and a lot of the other candy stuff really, really easily. All of them got beautiful, beautiful colors, and I think the colors we got here in this Skittle yarn are just wonderful. Let's check out our rose cashmere fiber. This was the 50% cashmere, which is our protein, and 50% rose, which is our cellulose fiber that came in the Paradise Fibers box. We got some beautiful colors from the Skittles. I used a tiny bit more than the individual packet, but pretty close on this 8 grams of fiber. The color stayed pretty much where I put it. It didn't penetrate very deeply at all. And it does not feel felted. It feels very like fluffy, draftable and spinnable. I'm not sure if, maybe there's some slight texture differences, but there's no doubt that I can draft this with ease, and in a little bit I am going to go and spin this fiber. Now granted, since I haven't spun this blend before, I don't have anything to compare it to, but I call this a resounding success. Don't forget though that on this fiber, once the color came off the Skittles, I removed the rest of the candy. I flipped it off of the fiber and I removed it from the pot. There's really only color on the outside of the Skittles, so leaving the inside of the candy in there only is going to add more wax and residue and things for you to rinse out. And I think that's one of the big reasons why this one was successful. As for our Wool of the Andes roving, oh dear. It is not felted. It is very, very fluffy. I think it's still draftable and spinnable. And we got really amazing color penetration. But on the surface, you can see little bits of the wax, and there's some areas where it is definitely a bit worse. And when you feel it, you can tell. It feels a little bit waxy. Now, would this still be spinnable? Yeah, definitely. But what about the wax removal? I think that I'm not going to be spinning this one for the recap. I will try spinning it at some point in the future, but I think that what I would do is spin the yarn and then put it in some really, really hot water, not just to set the twist, but to hope to melt that wax off and to carefully wash it to remove a bunch of that wax. I mean, it just, honestly, it feels a little bit like an oily yarn, like something with high lanolin. So it's not gross, it's just different. But I did this so that way we could learn about the extremes. On the rose cashmere fiber, I was gentle. I removed the candy early to try to avoid having as much wax in there as possible. And I really don't feel any waxy residue on this fiber. Here, I dumped a ton of Skittles on, and I let them dissolve completely. I wanted to see the extreme, the quote, worst case scenario. Granted, it could have been worse. I could have felted the fiber. So it isn't really the worst scenario, but I definitely did not wash it anywhere as much as I washed the yarn. Which the yarn also, I do not see or feel any waxy residue or any stiffness in it. It does feel, again, a little, not oily, but I think it's that wax. It's like moisturized, if that makes sense. So it feels, you know, just like yarn. So this, you know, I give an A+. Being extremely delicate, I give an A. You know, be delicate, remove things when you're concerned. And then going ham on roving, stick to yarn. Just stick to yarn. I said in the live stream that my official recommendation would be to spin the fiber first and then dye it with candy. And I think I stand by that recommendation. I had never tried dyeing roving or any kind of unspun fiber with candy before. And especially a candy like Skittles that has wax, you know, it's something that requires more rinsing than something, say, like candy hearts or Sweetarts that are a little more chalky. And so they might dissolve completely and there's still stuff to rinse out, but they're not gonna solidify in the same way on the yarn and leave that residue behind. But anyway, let's go spin this fiber really quickly. Ooh, this is drafting really easily. I tend to be a short draw kind of person, but the staple lengths are so long that I have one hand about 10 inches back behind the other. But oof, this so far is so pretty. And yeah, it's drafting beautifully, absolutely beautifully. I am really happy with the ease of it, and I didn't do any pre-drafting or anything. So I think that, you know, with fiber, you're going to want to go slow with adding the candy, maybe do it in stages. So that way with Skittles, you can remove those white centers that we saw. The candy coating struck so fast, and which is beautiful, and you don't need the rest in the pot. You just don't. But anyway, I think that this is great. The colors that we're getting are really soft pastel, and this sheen is just gorgeous. Now that I have done this, I am really excited to dye the rest of the fiber. Probably not with candy. I think I might stick with either acid dyes or fiber reactive dyes, but who knows, I might go back and do food coloring as well, but doing straight liquid drops. I get a lot of requests to do some more live spinning sessions, and I really truly want to. I'm very sorry that I haven't had the chance to do one for a while, but this is something that is definitely on my want-to-do list. I have been working on a bunch of editing recently for some really exciting projects. So make sure that you're subscribed to the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel, so that way you don't miss any live streams or any of the new content that I've got coming up. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming, and I cannot wait for you guys to see it. No matter what, I am very excited to spin up more of this fiber, and I'm really excited to spin more of it. It is spinning like a dream, and it is so silky. But yeah, I'm going to keep spinning up the rest of this fiber, and then we can come back and finish up our conclusions. How is this for some beautiful rainbow yarn? This came out great. The colors are soft, and it would be really fun if you were to mix this in with the rest of the fiber. You could get something even more pastel, or you could dye more of the fiber and get this through and through. Paradise Fibers, thank you again for giving me a shout out in your box. This was a huge surprise. And yeah, I cannot wait to see what you come out with next month. Friends, I now have to ask all of you, would you dye some fiber with Skittles? If not, have you dyed yarn with candy? What kind of candy? Let me know in the comments below. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and I am usually willing to try almost anything when it comes to dyeing yarn or fiber, and I love to film things that I'm trying for the very first time to share it with all of you. I really, really hope that you enjoyed this journey and this process, and maybe me going a little outside of the box can convince you to start trying to dye some yarn or roving at home. If you would like to support the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel, we have Patreon, we have an Etsy shop, there's even some merch. You can find links to everything in the video description. Thank you so much for watching, everyone.